Welcome to this short video that talks about how to help people that you might meet in your front office or your store or other in-person contact. Vision loss changes everything, but safe travel and independence is possible, especially with healthy supports. You will learn how to be helpful without decreasing independence. You can get rid of the awkwardness in face-to-face encounters. What happens if we don't get any training? What's the impacts of not knowing how to help? Well, you just might feel awful for upsetting the person unknowingly, lose sales or opportunities or connection, and suffer rebuke. So the impacts on your customer or your client, perhaps a family member, anyone that you meet, if you do not know how to be helpful in a good way. The person with new vision loss may lose confidence in their ability to be independent and get their needs met in public, which may cause miscommunications, might evoke strong emotions like frustration and anger, withdrawal from life, unwillingness to ask for help in the future. So here we see a picture of a person with a long white cane out and they're reaching down the steps. And the question is, how can you tell if a person who is blind needs help? Though this might seem like a real scary picture, this person has no need for help other than if you are coming up the stairs, say something. So this person, I can look at that picture and tell you that they've had good cane training because they're using it in an appropriate manner. And they make mistakes just like anyone else, so it's possible that they might make a mistake, but nevertheless, your interference would not help. Other than you are on the steps, you need to let them know, hey, I'm on the steps. So then we ask that question, how do you tell if a person who has vision loss needs help? They will ask. Or if they're new to it or whatever reason, they'll freeze when they walk through the door and they'll kind of slide to one side and have that confused look. And you can see here where these two people are looking and one might be helping. We can't really tell what's going on in the picture, but you see that closeness? A lot of times older people will get right up close to things to try to see them. Why do people with significant vision loss not look blind? There's a lot of reasons, but these are the major ones. 80% of those with vision loss still have some usable vision. Some have fuzzy vision and others have tunnel vision. So they have different types of vision loss, different needs. And with good training, blindness skills, lets them function well. So you can't equate the function with the vision loss. A person that's totally blind, as we tell in the story, the When You Are Blind Enough story on YouTube and also in the course, shows that even a person totally blind will sometimes be said, oh, wait a minute, you're not really blind. And it's not true, but it is a common event. And what happens with that constant barrage? You end up with a fear of public scrutiny and discounts. I remember my mobility instructor telling me, you know, Deb, you just got to look a little blinder so that they'll give way. Often here, you can see you don't really need help. Thus, they're left questioning the use of identifying elements such as a hat, cane, or guide dog until they get injured enough. Think about that. We're talking about how many times do you have to fall down the stairs or off the curb or bump into something or smash your face before you are, quote, entitled to use that cane, hat, or guide dog. So who gets to decide what is legal blindness? So Social Security, SSA administration, back in 1930s, made a definition for the purposes of your taxes and for benefits that says legally blind when less than 20 degrees or 2200, only see the big E. They determined this by the functional limitation. In other words, it impacted their ability to walk around, impacted their ability to work, it impacted their ability to function independently. So the picture there, the visual field, the dark blue is approximately 20 degrees, and the big E is 2200. So if you can see the F or P, which would be on the 100 line, you're not legally blind. So some people might not quite make it to legally blind, but still be pretty darn blind. So the reality is, if somebody's asking you for help, they must need it. None of us like to ask for help. So let's take a look at what the vision loss might look like. So this is near total vision loss. A lot of people just have light perception. And there's a shelf behind here that we're taking a picture of for each one. It's the same shelf. This one would be macular degeneration, AMD. It's the most common, very common in people over 65, as many as 20% of the population in some estimates. And what it has is a center blurring. So the central part of the eye is pretty non-functional, but the outside peripheral doesn't have color vision. It only has black and white. And it is, you can see things, as you can see in this picture, but it's pretty indistinct. So you can actually almost see the coconut milk label, but you can probably decide that that's a tuna can because it's small and skinny, but it could also be clams or a bunch of other things. This one would be cataracts. A lot of people have cataracts, especially older, and it's fuzzy, but it's a different kind of fuzzy, so they can still see color because macular is not affected, and that helps a lot with identification. This would be fuzzy for moderate diabetes. It's different in that it's blotchier. There's missing spots because of the leakage of the blood vessels in the back of the eye. So each one of these eye diseases has a different reason why the eye isn't functioning. So this is very fuzzy, getting very close to total blind, but there's still a little bit. And so when we talk about usable vision, it might be that little tiny bit that you see. For whatever reason, you can almost really see the tuna cans, and that's very common with advanced cataracts or corneal damage or infections, or any other disease that it's gotten to that far. Now, here's the visual field issue. The two most common conditions are retinitis pigmentosa and glaucoma. So this is what we call by 20 degrees less vision. So on the right, you have a picture of the shelf as it was, and then you have it with about a 10-degree visual field. So you can see that it's still clear. You can read the label, the color is there, but you're only seeing a little tiny portion of the shelf. One can of coconut milk and maybe a few things, tuna cans underneath it. So it's very different in that they can see whatever they can see, but they often can't find things or get frustrated because of things. So the biggest issue with tunnel vision or RP glaucoma is getting around safely and finding object doors or signs. They see color and regular size print well. Because they think they're seeing the whole picture and have no way to know what they are missing, it's really hard to see in yourself. They may have night blindness. They're most often considered clumsy, frequently bumping into people or objects, struggle to see in tunnels or entering buildings on a sunny day, and they avoid movie theaters and bars, and they avoid changing lanes. They also lose things right in front of them, a pen or something like that. So confusing functional limitation. Who needs what varies by each eye condition, training, and stage uniquely. For people who are fuzzy, they have no fine details, face recognition. They don't know who or what it is. They need information to understand what they're dealing with. When people have a lack of color, loss of key identifiers, does it match? Which one is red? Is this the same color as that? Tunnel vision, risk of head bump, falls, difficulty finding things. Can't find the sign. Can read the sign if you can find the sign, but can't find the sign. Where did it go? I thought it was right here. Why do I have to wear a hat or use a long white cane? To stay safe. People sometimes will also have extreme light or glare sensitivity. So they can see, but it hurts. How can I stop my eyes from hurting? So bright lights and sunlight and certain shiny objects and paper that's too shiny can make it impossible to see things which otherwise they can see. And then, of course, night blindness. Oh no, is it safe? So night blindness can be as simple as going under the shadow of a building, coming from outside to inside, or vice versa. It's just that the eye takes much longer to adapt to light. So they can do it, but you'll see people slide in the door, stand to the side, hoping that their eyes will adjust. It's one of the cues for that type of vision loss. So let's take a look at what we can do to make things better. So first, we're going to start with what not to say. Can you see that? That's not useful information because, they don't know what you're looking at. They don't know what that is. Come here. And nobody knows where come here is either. Here's not a definable term. What does she need? So shifting it to someone else is very demoralizing and takes away a person's sense of identity. It's over here. No, it's right there or here. Does not help. Can't you read the sign? It's right in front of you. And then never grab or touch the person without permission. It's just so upsetting and scary for a person who can't see well to suddenly being grabbed, because then that conveys that there's some sort of danger. And all of a sudden things are not going well. When you only wanted to go to the store to pick up a simple item and you ask someone where that item is and they start grabbing you, it changes the whole dynamics quite a little bit. So here's what we do want to say. Say this instead. I am Deb, the assistant, or the sales clerk, or the desk person, or whatever title you have. I can help you find. Would you like to take my elbow, or can you follow me? It's really important because some people can follow. With the fuzzy people you can see would often be able to follow you. They might not know who you are or what you are, and if you walk too fast, they might lose you if there's several people there. But in general, they would be able to do that. And if they say they want to take your elbow, that gives you the cue to pull your elbow out and bump the back of their hand or their elbow so they know where you are and they can grab it and not some other part of your body that they really don't want to grab. You want to use this framework. So think about what you would put in here. I am blank, your title, your name. Can I help you with blank? What is your role in the life? Any task that you are willing to do. So even if you are just a friend or I'm a shopper or what, I am willing to tell you what's on the shelf. Might be an example of what you can do, or I can tell you where the checkout counter is. Would it be helpful if I blank? So if I give you directions, or if I hand you the object, or whatever seems to be useful, unless they've given you specific direction to something else. So let's practice that. Let's have some examples. I am Sally, the cashier at the checkout. Can I give you directions to the checkout? If yes, the checkout is about 15 feet in front of you, and I am on your right or at 3 o'clock. Using the hands of the clock is an easy way. We always assume that noon is straight up and 6 o'clock would be directly behind us, and then 3 o'clock to your right, 9 o'clock to your left. Sometimes that's really easy, especially since a lot of us have, that problem of getting our rights and lefts mixed up. But that's okay. If you say something and it's backwards, the person will turn that way and you go, no, not that way, the other way. And all of us people with vision loss that have to take directions are, the other right. Okay, we got that. Doesn't matter. We appreciate the help, even if it is a little bit redundant or needs to be changed. It is your turn. Or there is a line. Maybe the person in front of you could alert you to their position and let you know when to move up. If needed, if you see scrunched up face or you see something that leads you to believe that they're not understanding or need something else, you might say, do you need additional help? Much better than saying, what are you doing? Or I told you to go sit down, or whatever people like to end up saying. I am Sam at the front desk. There's another example. Can I help you find the window to check in? They say yes. You would say the check-in window is about 10 feet to your left at about 10 o'clock. You may come to the window now, or there is someone in front of you. I will call you by name when it is your turn. Please wait where you are or find a seat to your right, whatever might be appropriate. So if you don't know their name, I will call you by name when it is your turn, and you can say your name is, and they'll give you your name, and then you know who to call. If needed, you would say, do you need additional help? So if the person, you've asked them to go sit down in the waiting room, but you didn't tell them it was on the right or left, and they're going, yeah, well, where is the chair? Then you say, oh, yes, the chair's 5 feet in front of you. There are 3 chairs, any one will work. So once again, here's our framework, and we'd like you to practice this outside in your own life. You might just in your head or say it out loud while you're watching this video. I am at the, so whatever fits in your world. Can I help you find the blank is, or I am about blank to your blank at about whatever clock. So that's, kind of a formalized structure, but it basically allowing the person to find you. There's nothing more frustrating, especially with the glass now that's on a lot of reception desks because of COVID. We're standing in the middle of this room and we have no idea where the person is. And it's very helpful to be able to face a person because you can hear better and you can connect better. And it's just really important not to be kind of standing there looking off in the wrong direction. Give the specifics of what you require. And if you need to at the end, you can always do that last check-in. Okay, did we get it all, or do you need additional help? Is there something else that needs to happen? And not to be afraid that if they're going to ask you for something you can't do, you just be really honest and say, well, you know what, I don't have that answer, or I'm not the right person. And they can move on and ask for someone else, or they can figure it out themselves, or pull out their tools, or whatever they're going to do to get themselves out of the jam. You are not responsible just because you've offered to do one thing. These are some other suggestions of things you can say. So tell me what helps you find what you need. You are almost to the right place if you move your hand 6 inches to the right. There's another one, 5 feet down the aisle you are on the left, turn toward the back of the store about waist high. So being really specific, if there's a front door, back door, a window, or something that's concrete in your room, and the person knows that, they just walk through the door. It's really helpful to make it relative to what they have experienced. Would you like me to put it in your hand? So maybe it's a tissue box, maybe it's a basket to carry things, whatever it might be that you're needing to hand someone. Or the receipt, for example. Put the receipt and the credit card back on the counter and people can't find it. It's not very helpful. I can tell you where the sign is and what it says if you like. So sometimes people will say, oh, if you tell me where the sign is, I can read it. Or they might say, oh, no, just tell me what it says. So you're offering what you're willing to do and what's able. And if the sign is not important, you might say, well, I can tell you where the sign that says the Wi-Fi password, for example, or the sign is where you're supposed to wait for your turn until they call you up, would be another example of a sign that's important to share. So here's a little bit of a guideline summary for diversity in general, but specifically to the topic we're talking about. Talk directly to the person, giving directions and who you are. So where are you and who are you and what are you going to be able to help them do? Ask how you can help. If something seems unusual, ask gently using I am wondering statements. In other words, it's okay to own what you don't know. It's the kindest thing in the world, saying, you know, I really can't understand why you do blank. Can you help me with that? Tell them when you leave. This grants privilege and security. There's nothing worse than talking to thin air, thinking that you have a person and some other stranger or some other person just comes up and goes, huh, what are you saying? And you're like, well, okay, that was not cool. So always let someone know when you're leaving. Avoid pointing and raising your voice while repeating over here, right here. Even tapping your foot is not going to help. Remember, and the added anger and irritation basically undoes any goodness that you might be doing by helping. Remember, assuming someone can see can be dangerous or disrespectful. Deciding that you can determine better than their doctor or better than their actual visual acuity by how they're behaving or what they are able to do is just so wrong, but it's so common. So you want to jump out of being in that bucket and make sure that you're the one that's giving them the confidence and ability that the world is a place that can be managed and can be learned to navigate. Memory is a good thing. So a lot of times once you go through something or you learn where something is, you're able to go back to that same spot again, all by yourself. Remember, independence and safe public access is possible with good training and healthy support, regardless of the amount of vision loss or total vision. And we see here 2 pictures, person walking in the rain with a cane, looking pretty sharp, and then also a person in a suit walking with the cane across the street quite confidently. There's so many solutions for access. We have signature guides, which is the little black thing below, and you see the ED. Well, you can just a piece of paper or a piece of plastic. They're available free from different places. And you can also just fold the paper on the line so a person can sign if they need to sign for a payment or a form. Simple, very simple piece of cardboard with a little window cut out of it will do. Apps on the iPhone. iPhones come with built-in talking ability. You don't have to download anything, just turn it on. So a person that learns how to use that can tell time and do the calendar, do everything. But there's also a lot of free apps. There's map apps, and the CNAI is from Microsoft, and you can read text with it. You can do a lot of things with it. There's games you can play. There's the PDX bus one. You turn that one on, and it tells you what bus is coming up in front of you. It's pretty amazing, the technology, how it's opened up the world dramatically. And magnifiers. It used to be you had to pay a lot of money for magnifiers, but Maglite Pro is, I don't know, less than $10, and it works as good as a $600 magnifier. In addition, there are live support, Be My Eyes, and another one that's called IRA, where they have trained people that it ties to the camera, and they can use it to shop or get tasks done or find things. To learn more about all of this is just a short, quickie video to give you some basics. We have a course called Understanding the Diversity of Legal Blindness, Impacts and Solutions, Part 1 Basic. It was built for healthcare providers, but it's good for anyone who's interested, educators or business owners or family members. And you will learn why they might not tell you and how to spot it anyway, how to help them come to grips with how they're different, how to make forms and other information accessible easily and with low cost or no cost, how to guide or direct safely, myths around the needs, and how to build trust and independence. You can learn more at my website at adaptabilityforlife.com on the Cultural Competence Training page. Thank you for being with me. And as always, if you have questions, you can email me at deb@adaptabilityforlife. Hope this has been helpful.